The wives of Noah's 3 sons, who were on board Noah's Ark, were among the members of Noah's family who made it through the Great Flood, according to the amazing story found in the Book of Genesis. The Bible doesn't name these courageous women, yet they lived alongside their husbands. However, their existence is confirmed in Genesis 6, verse 18, when God said to Noah, "But with you I will establish my covenant. You shall come into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives." Don't forget to subscribe to Ancient History for fascinating insights into the mysteries of the ancient world and captivating historical narratives. We come across a rare text known as the Book of Jubilees in ancient Jewish tradition. The book, an intriguing and extraordinarily old manuscript, tells the events of Genesis and Exodus and adds details to the biblical narrative, such as names, dates, and accurate calendars. It also covers the patriarchs' historical background, liturgical rites, and the laws that the ancient Israelites followed. While the Book of Jubilees is not included in the standard Jewish or Christian canon and is not considered canonical by most Jewish traditions, some Jewish communities value it and see it as a key text for understanding religious thought and the history of Judaism during the Second Temple period. Furthermore, it has been preserved in a number of manuscripts and languages, such as Latin, Greek, and Ethiopian. The names of Noah's sons' brides are listed in the Book of Jubilees. Nelt Tomok, for instance, is the name of Ham's spouse. She is identified as the mother of numerous peoples in this document, including African peoples and other ethnicities whose ancestors were related to Ham and his wife. African peoples remember Nelt Tomok as their matriarch. Across the continent, her progeny dispersed and gave life to numerous cultures and civilizations. Her legacy has a strong hold on African history and has influenced many generations' worth of customs, languages, and ties to the land. The Sibylline Oracles claimed that Nelt lived for ages and ages, an incredible feat of life. She was a member of the pre-Diluvian generation, meaning she was born before the Great Flood, which explained this. People could expect to live for a very long time during that time, with some reaching remarkable 900 years of age. Nelt Tomok, the wife of Ham, lived for several centuries and made a number of noteworthy prophecies during that time. The 3 wives of Noah's sons were prophetesses, according to the Sibylline Oracles, and they prophesied for their own generations as well as the nations that descended from them. Like the other wives, Nelt Tomok was instrumental in passing on predictions to her offspring. According to Syriac Tarum, a Christian tradition that dates to the 2nd century after Christ and is quite similar to the Book of Jubilees but written a little later, the Syriac Targum, also called the Targum Pseudo-Jonathan or Taram Yami II, is a translation or paraphrase of the Old Testament in Aramaic that is mistakenly credited to Jonathan ben Uzziel. The Syriac Targum mostly concentrates on the historical books of the Old Testament, in contrast to more well-known Targums like Targum Ankos for the Pentateuch and Targum Yanan for the Prophets. The Syriac Targum is thought to have been written between the 6th and 9th century AD. It is renowned for both its striking distinctions from more conventional Targums and its unusual literary style. When compared to other Targums, the Syriac Targum is not as well known and is not utilized as frequently in Jewish or Christian contexts nowadays. Nonetheless, it offers a fascinating perspective on how the Bible was interpreted and translated in antiquity, and can be a useful tool for academics looking to investigate the literary and cultural practices of Judaism at the time it was written. Another legend is mentioned by the Christian author known as Saint Hippus. However, he gives the wives of Ham and Japheth different names. He states that Zedit Naabu would be the name of Ham's spouse. Therefore, Zedit Naabu would be Ham's wife in accordance with this tradition. It's amazing to learn that there is an old mythology about Ham's wife from the period of the deluge that is found in Christian traditions. This mythology holds that Noah was given the command by God to destroy the first person to declare the arrival of the deluge. But at that very moment, Ham's wife was baking bread, and she cried out that the flood had started as water erupted out of the oven, killing the bread. She started to cry out that the flood was coming. According to this narrative of Christians from the 2nd century, God then chose to undo his previous order so that Noah wouldn't destroy his own daughter-in-law, or, to put it another way, wouldn't destroy a member of his own family who was going to be spared from the Great Flood. Christian traditions contain an intriguing mystery regarding Ham's wife, which is referenced in the Book of Jubilees and chapter 10 of the Book of Genesis. Cush, Mra, Put, and Canaan are the 4 sons that Melech, Ham's wife, had with him. It's important to remember that Ham and Nelt Tomok's first 3 sons founded numerous countries, mostly in Africa. Canaan was the ancestor of the Canaanites, sometimes referred to as the ancient Phoenicians of the Middle East, who were the Israelites' long-standing competitors and foes. Nevertheless, he did not give birth to any Africans. Even though Canaan is not the primary character in the biblical story, the land of Canaan bears his name. It's well known that the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will inherit the country of Canaan upon their arrival there. Areas that are currently a part of Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, and Jordan would be included in this territory. It's fascinating to see how these historical legends and biblical stories illuminate the past and ancestry of many ethnic groups and cultures. The major ethnic groups deriving from the ancestry of Nelt Tomok were mostly Sumerians, particularly the Sumerian people. This occurred as a result of the ancient Sumerian civilization's ancestry stemming from Cush. It is noteworthy to recall that the area referenced in the Book of Genesis, which would eventually become Babylon, was settled by the Sumerian pioneer Nimrod. According to the Bible, Nimrod was the first strongman to walk the earth, Genesis 10:8, and he developed into a powerful hunter in the sight of the Lord. In addition, Nimrod is recognized as the creator of a number of Mesopotamian cities, such as Calneh, Erech, and Babel. Furthermore, a sizable segment of the native populace residing in that area originated from cities comprising the Akkadian, Chaldean, Assyrian, Syrian, and Aramaean peoples. It's interesting to note that the influence of Nimrod allowed the Sumerians to trace their history back to Cush. It's also important to note that Nelt Tomok, Ham's wife, was descended from the ancient Egyptians via her son Mra. According to biblical and historical traditions, the area that would eventually become Egypt is frequently linked to the name Mra. In fact, several Bible translations use the phrase Mra as a substitute name for Egypt. Mra is not a major character in biblical theology, but because of his connection to Egypt, he is significant historically. Egypt was a major player in ancient Near Eastern history, and is often mentioned in the Bible in connection with events like the Israelites' enslavement and Moses' leading of the Exodus. A further group of people derived from Nelt Tomok are the ancient Nubians, also known as Cush in the past. The land of Cush is mentioned in various chapters in the Bible due to their relationship to Cush, one of the sons of Ham and Nelt Tomok. The Cushites are also frequently mentioned in historical and geographical settings, particularly in regard to Egypt. Occasionally, the term Cush is also used more widely to describe far-off or exotic places. In addition to the Nubians, it is crucial to emphasize that the ethnic groups of Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, and the entire African continent are descended from Nelt Tomok and Ham. It is crucial to emphasize that the mistaken interpretation of the curse of Canaan as something that fell upon Africans is false and harmful. Those who misinterpreted the Bible text came up with this concept. It is important to make clear that the Canaanite people of the Middle East, who originated in the country of Canaan, are the ones affected by the curse of Canaan, not the people of Africa. It is a distortion and an uncontextualized reading of the Bible to incorrectly associate this curse with Africans. The Bible contains a story about the curse of Canaan, notably in Genesis 9:20-27. According to one story, Noah grows a vineyard following the deluge, becomes wasted, and ends up naked in his tent. After reporting the sight of his father's nudeness to his brothers Shem and Japheth, Ham's father is covered up without a second glance. After learning of what transpired, Noah blesses Shem and Japheth and condemns Canaan, the son of Ham. This narrative relates to the Canaanites, not the Africans, and therefore should not be used to support prejudice or discrimination based on race. That is all for this video. We will be back soon with another informative video. Don't forget to like and share this video. To keep exploring ancient history together, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Until next time,